I'm hitting a little something. You want to go to your settings real quick and go to advanced setting and hit echo cancellation. It's right underneath the video. Probably should have done this before we went live. What up, everybody? Welcome, Cue Reaves. We're going to talk about aliens. We're going to talk about human superpowers. Whether or not time is a man-made construct. You know, I love to rip into that one as often as I can. Give us a second, y'all, to dial in.
Is it still giving you an echo?
Oh no, you're good now.
All right.
I think. Chat squad, everything sounding good. Amy, what's cracking? Welcome. If Richie's in there, let me see.
What's your Hold on. Let me I'm about to post it on my YouTube.
Oh, I'll give it to you right now. We got, or just type in man letters. YouTube.com/man letters.
Well, I'm trying to get this specific video. I got it right here. I got it.
Oh, okay.
So they could just come right in.
Ooh. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Saliva, what up? Richie, sounds good. Thank you kindly, sir. Appreciate it. Q, you're dark, bruh.
I'm dark. I need to turn more light on.
I was like, yeah, he is.
I was in my vibe. I can turn more light on.
Hey, if you got the vibe, homie, you got the vibe. I know how you feel.
It's up to them. They want more light. They can get more light. Q.
Oh, Hessa, it's your birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Hessa. How old are you? 22? Hope you're safe out there too. Slavi, Lemuria. Damn, we can talk about the Lemurians, man, and the extraterrestrials. I think I've seen a video of you talking about the Lemurians, actually. Yeah. Anywho,
Price still dark.
What up? It's a little better. What'd you do? Light a few candles?
Nah, I'm gonna just hit the bright light. Bang, we good. We hit the bright light. We good. I'm in there.
I love that you were rocking the hat in the dark.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Getting that Westworld vibe.
Dude, you are, which I'm down for. I love Westworld, actually. What do you think? Is that where the world's headed, or what? Or are we already there?
Yeah, that's our history, which is our future. But our future is a form of our history because we were inside someone at a time. Let's just say that.
What do you mean, as a thought, or like
no, as a cell, as an actual cell. I mean, specifically an atom that kind of transformed itself into a molecule, and then a molecule that transformed itself into a cell. That cell got organized, became an organism, and became an organ, and then that organ is who and what you are now.
So you're saying Westworld is just a natural evolution of what human is supposed to be, or going to be, or possibly?
Memories are natural memories of what you would define as a human. You know what was bugging me out? The moon landing. They said one step for man. What was it saying? One step for man, two steps for mankind, or one step for man, a larger step for mankind. It was something along them lines, but my point is, they were saying one step for man because it was kind of acknowledging that this is just something common for man, you know, human, whatever. Where mankind is now taking a giant leap. Mankind, which is what we are. You know, there's a man and then there's a woman. That's defining the kinds of men. Anyway, yeah, it's just interesting, you know, these words and how they operate these words.
That's your bread and butter.
I feel a Westworld vibe coming for sure. Westworld mixed with a little bit of Player One. Mixed in with a little bit of
I never saw Player One, man. I'm fucking up because it's my kind of movie too. I don't know how that one keeps eluding me.
So it's just a reality where people become more accommodated with virtual reality. See, what you have to think, all right, think about this idea.
Hit me.
We do a census every so often, every few years. And this census is counting the population of what you would call civilized individuals. We are not counting indigenous people. They are not going out to Australia and counting the aborigines and counting them a part of this census. It doesn't work like that. So they are separate from our society. Now, they're
Yeah.
separate from our standard of society. So for example, if we have a future society where we have people that are natural and enjoy being in the natural world, and then you have some people that have separated themselves from the natural world and has plugged themselves into a VR or virtual world. Well, a lot of people ask, how could they get the world 7 billion people down to 1 billion people? Well, you don't have to eliminate or kill every single person to get the world to that census or to that a number to operate a reality. You just have to distract enough people, and that's the whole concept. I think that they're trying to get people distracted. So if they can get them distracted, they can plug them in to this VR, and then now while they're plugged into VR, they're more concerned with buying digital clothes than buying real clothes. They're more concerned with digital jewelry, just a digital world in comparison to, the real world. So they won't be counted in the census if you think of it. They wouldn't make sense because they wouldn't be by our standard. Now, vice versa. If we are the ones that are kind of looking at a reality and want to consider ourselves organic, want to go vegan, etc., we might be considered the outcasts. We might be the ones that don't get counted in the census. So you could think of this in either way.
The census is just the thing that they need to make what they want happen. They need the backing of the census, of their controlled population.
Yeah, so it's all a numbers game. Our reality is ruled on numbers and specifically money, which is, of course, a part of this numbers game. And we can't dictate the tone of money or the flow of money if we can't dictate the amount of people that we have to divide or restrict. That's a better word, of people of this money or this currency. So this census has many purposes or agendas. Not just to be aware of population, but to also be aware of a lot of things. They're asking you to fill out your race. So every year they're seeing what race is being eliminated. Think about that.
Interesting. Or at least what people consider themselves.
Well, correct. But this is the whole purpose of who and what we are anyway. So, for example, if you believe in ancient culture where you have Lemurians and then you have Atlanteans, well, the Atlanteans ain't a new people. They are an evolved version of Lemurians. So if you even think of it as your standard Caucasian or your standard, African? I mean, just nevertheless, they have been so intermingled and interbred worldly and have traveled and intermingled worldly that specific race or that specific tribe might not survive. It might transition or transform into something new. So it would no longer be a Lumerian. It would be transformed into this new identity known as an Atlantean. So it's the same concept for Caucasians or black people or, etc. So this is a part of it, trying to get everyone into that other category. Now that's an agenda I think that they on board with too, trying to get everyone into an other category.
I 100% check the other category at the bottom.
Me too. I have no choice. That would be. I mean, I'm so ancestral with how I operate that I would be doing myself a disservice to only acknowledge one part of myself.
For sure, 100%. And even at the same time, like I just did one. I don't know how you feel about the DNA test, but I came up 20% Native American to Southern California coast, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like I'm Mexican, so I've got all Mexicans are basically Spain native mixed as a Mexican. But upwards of 20% means like I had a full great grandparent 40, 80, only 3 generations ago. You know what I mean? Was there a full-blooded, straight-up fucking Chumash Indian in my bloodline that I didn't even know about? So it's like, how much is like you said, we're following the ancestors, but it's almost like, how can you not? You are your fucking ancestors blended together. So how can you not be your own fucking? Like I saw in one of your videos where you were mentioning how you were new to the metaphysical world, which I was like, oh damn, it doesn't seem like he's new to the world. Anywho, you said that as a result, you've been kind of makeshifting your own metaphysical way, if you will, with your practices and shit. It's like is that not what everyone does? Like, everyone takes what they need mostly and apply what they need to the modern time to sort of make ends meet, to make it function in a new society, sort of thing.
For sure. But if someone teaches you that practice, then you owe that individual. And that was something I always kind of was hesitant about, and probably is restrictive because, you know, I see different individuals with their fraternal orders or their fraternal brothers, and you know, they're doing these things, and I'm just like, you know, maybe I should have submitted and chilled out. But
for sure, that's a good point. So, well, then where do you stand? Because there's like, I'm sure there's knowledge out there that I would never have access to unless I join a fraternity or hack someone's fucking email. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not shown to the public. So then what?
So then I have to decide, and I was having this talk earlier with my girlfriend, and I was explaining how there's certain aspects of metaphysics that worry me. So here's an example. I try to give as much truth and awareness into metaphysics, or my perception of metaphysics. And I know that I can probably drop, let's say, 1,000 jewels or gems. But then I can see another individual and they're drop 20 gems. And these 20 gems are more acknowledged, more praised. So I say, okay, so should I restrict the human from processing so much information? This is how I take it. Like, maybe it's too much information for them, and maybe I should dial back. But then I start to look at what these gems are. And I start to realize that these gems are repetitive statements, are things that people have heard before, so they're comfortable with. I'm like, damn, is that really what's happening in this community right now? That people are only tapping into or connecting to or opening up things that they're comfortable with. And I'm like, if you look at any of the ancient metaphysical practitioners, that wasn't comfortable. I don't remember any of that representing a life of comfort. I mean, from Osiris getting decapitated to Horus in the battles. I mean, none of these were like the gods did not just live like comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they had to do something in their world or in their reality to influence it, to change it. And I feel like we don't want that. So
I don't think
are these groups here then to keep us like that? Like, is that, and then am I selling out? Because then I'm like, oh yeah, let me like join these individuals. It's bro, you don't understand.
Well, I got a wrench. Then maybe a solution for that. You're talking about gems. You have 1,000, they got 20, but they're baited on the 20. So if we're going with the gem analysis, what if you're dropping 1,000 gems through fucking quartz crystal, which are a dime a dozen, and there's gems out there that 20 of them equal your 1,000. So maybe it's a refining or just a different way of fucking pitching what you have to pitch to get people on board. Because people want to change the world without a doubt. They just don't realize they can. You've got fucking movies and in your billboard hits and shit and ass shaking and twerking. You know what I mean? You have the distractions of the world.
For sure.
So why have you considered that a different message, a different way, or maybe not throwing in the towel, or
well, definitely not. I then realized that the way that people then praise being uncomfortable is being aggressive. So then I start.
Wait. The way people back then described it? You're talking ancient
No,
times?
no, I'm telling you what I'm observing. I'm observing that the way that people are handling uncomfortability, meaning if someone tells them something or they're hearing something being expressed, if it's not controversial, if it's not aggressive, it doesn't get as strong of a attention as if it was pure. So that's just my point. So if we were to start to gauge, pull back, and start to ask, are people coming forward? Any of these people, I'm talking about from presidents to YouTubers to whatever, like a Mike Tyson, I can look at and listen to that man. I can see that man and see that he is moving and operating out of purity. He's not operating out of aggression or operating out of controversy. And it's like, we have to pay attention to that in this metaphysical community. Do we want to feed purity, or do we want to feed? I mean, and I mean being okay with being uncomfortable. You know, that's a pure way of accepting it. Being okay. So if I have an opinion you don't agree with, you could be okay with that. It doesn't make you aggressive. It doesn't make you want to storm the White House. You know, this is what I mean. I broke down on my YouTube just a few hours ago the metaphysics of the guy or the people that was storming. Now, whether they're aware of it or not, this is a metaphysical event. And it's still a metaphysical event that is stemming out of aggression. It is a metaphysical event that is stemming out of controversy. And it's trending. It's viral. And I hope we acknowledge this is happening, so that then when something pure comes along, we feed it or pay attention to it even more. But I'm not seeing it just yet. Not saying we won't.
Well, I was going to cut you off earlier and say it's the controversy is what people want, not necessarily the aggression. Because it's the thing about humans, man, is they get fucking bored. But when they see, like, if they're living an adventurous life and they're sleeping in the fucking mud every day and they're cold and wet, like, you're gonna be longing for comfort after a while. You've been chilling on your couch for the last fucking 6 months. You're waiting for an adventure. That's why, like, Tyson's chill as fuck, but everyone's all about him because you've got a boxer who's supposed to be the most aggressive person, period, being gentle as fuck and soft spoken and well spoken and thoughtful and, like, you know, meditative. And it's like, oh shit, the contrast of that is fire as fuck. So I think that, like, that's why people get hyped from the news. It's like it's the one shocker after another. So it's just shocking people into fucking reactions.
Yeah, and they getting fed on from that shock and awe. You know, it's a
You say fed on?
Yeah,
for sure.
there is an energy that is ciphering off of these emotions and these experiences, and I want the metaphysical community to keep pushing. If I could just mentally, you know, really allow ourselves to go as deep as we can. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to get lost. Like, we have to start accepting these things. Like, because if you're wrong, you might want to go kill yourself. And I'm just like, it's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it's okay to be lost, because you should shine bright enough that if you were to be lost, someone sees you. You get what I'm saying? This is the concept of it's okay to be lost. But being lost and dumb, being lost and confused, you get what I'm saying? You can be lost and still aware. I'm lost and still aware. Meaning I'm lost to what would be the most effective ways to help humanity right now. I promise you, I'm lost to them answers right now. Because I'm not supposed to figure it out by myself. That's why. It's supposed to be us. We're supposed to figure out this problem for humanity. So, of course, I'm going to be lost. But I'm fully aware of this problem.
Yeah,
I'm fully
100%.
aware of what's happening in my matrix in my life right now, but I am lost. So this is what I'm saying. You know, this is an uncomfortable idea, but something that's so pure that I could accept. Maybe people, it just depends. But this is what I'm saying. We really got to start paying attention. You know, because I don't think we're paying attention to where our emotions are being projected upon.
What? I'm gonna go backwards for a second. You talked about people not getting lost. What's noteworthy, or what I wanted to add on top of that, is the struggle with this realm that we're in, and the squad, and the people we're rolling with on this like path that we're all on. Is if we're wrong, it's a fucking tough loss, because we're sacrificing the comfort of the tried and true. Like, you go to school, you go to college, you get your job, you get your wife, and you fail. It's like you have someone to blame. Why I did everything I was supposed to do. Like, what the fuck? Whereas if you drop everything and you're acting of your own volition, you have no one to blame but yourself if shit goes wrong. So it's like, at least I've seen in myself where it's like, all right, if I'm going out on a limb and making a huge investment that everyone says isn't the right move, and I fail, then it's like I'm twice of an ass. You know what I mean? That it's a leap of faith.
But we have to realize that in this society, someone has to be wrong.
100%.
Like, slavery is wrong. So Abraham Lincoln, quote unquote, would not be this right president, would not be this hero, would not be this archetype to represent the right if there wasn't some wrong. So it's okay. This is what I'm trying to say. We have to start to
It's
accept and
okay.
embrace as a society. It's okay to be wrong. It doesn't mean it's okay to be wrong and continue being wrong. It's okay to be wrong, to learn how to be right. Not it's okay to be wrong so I can learn how to be wrong multiple other ways. And
Or
that's
learn
like
how to
what we
defend
do.
myself even when I know I'm wrong, which people will do.
But here's the thing. If you realize that your wrong was to help provide your right, then it's not wrong. It's right. It's actually right. It did its job. It did its purpose. It was to show you something new. It did it. It's
Yeah, I mean,
technically right.
to a degree, but at the same time, I definitely want to get shit right if I can help it. Just on that.
Who defines the standard of right?
I would say each individual, absolutely, that there is an objective right and wrong in most situations, depending upon what your goals are. So what's right for me to grow a YouTube channel is a certain list of things: put out quality content, network, be consistent. Those are, objectively speaking, right things that I need to do to grow my channel. Playing video games all day, not doing shit, not responding to emails, slacking off, is objectively the wrong fucking move to do. What, not subjective, not out of perspective. It's like, the perspective would be someone who wants to be a gamer, then that's the right thing to play video games all day. But that's just what I mean. Like, because I definitely don't believe in there's no such thing as right or wrong at all. I think it has a lot to do with what you want. And if you have definitive, if you don't, and if you don't have definitive goals, and you're sort of a nomad that's super down for that lifestyle that you want to go with the wind, then no, then
right. Yeah, so it's mission based. It's mission based.
Yeah, amen, brother. It's mission based, 100%.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be important for us to get better at defining our missions.
Yeah, dude. Yes. Amen. Say that again, dude, for the people in the back.
For sure. I think if we get better at not only defining our position, but communicating it. So defining and communicating our role or position would also probably help in us not feeling or being wrong. Because odds are you're going to do the most effective, right way of getting to your mission, purpose, goal. You know, so why would you sabotage self? You know, there has to be something distracting self from one's mission, goal. And then that becomes what you could define as the sabotage. And ultimately, you know that you are the master of your reality, so you go to blame yourself. And this is what people have to accept, that you might put your frustration and anger out someone. I mean, how many people have been so upset or angry at an individual, fought them, and still angry? It didn't even help. It did, because the anger wasn't with them. The anger's with you. You know, so as we get better at really like defining, communicating self, we will be better at understanding self mission.
That's where I'd like to plug in the emphasis on it's all right to fail, because that's inevitably a part of the process. It's kind of like aim for the right. You'll miss the mark, but at least you're aiming for the light. You don't want to be aiming towards the dark and missing your mark, because Jesus Christ, he knows what happens then.
Yeah, it's bound to hit anything.
Yeah.
And then you have enemies in the shadows. You know, think about that analogy. You know, people are often just shooting in the dark. And this is actually like a real life thing, you know, when it comes to spirituality, that a lot of people are shooting in the dark, meaning that they might have discovered or heard something that gave them a spark. All right, so let's kind of say there's a difference between a spark and a shine. All right,
Copy.
it's like my Bic can produce a spark. It could produce even, you know, a little shine. But my fireplace, you know, there ain't no spark. That's a shine. But some people spark, some people shine. I realize most of the people that spark are sparked from aggression. That's
Well
why
noted.
it's short-lived. It's a short flame. They die out.
Well noted.
But most people that shine, most people that spark is a mental thing. So this is how you really could process this idea. Your brain fires, it sparks. Most people that spark, it's a mental thing. Most people that shine, it's a heart thing. It's constantly flowing, constantly beating.
You could say they have a different fuel then. The
Yeah.
spark would be the catalyst, and the fuel is the thing that keeps that spark going. So you're saying the heart is what keeps the shine.
Yes. And then that's when I like to compare it to like ether. So I think that that's like that black hole, that portal. It's a spark. It's it's the idea of like sauce versus juice. You know, juice expires. Sauce lasts a long time. And the process of making sauce is completely different than the process of making juice. Sauce is a fermentation. Sauce is a brewing. It is a process they call gherkin, the gherkin baby. but basically, it's the combination spirit cooking. That's another word that they would use to define this idea.
Wait, spirit cooking?
Yeah, it is basically, all right. So here's the idea of what spirit cooking is.
Yeah, hit me.
They think that a spirit is a spark.
Uh-huh.
They believe a soul to shine. You get my analogies?
Uh-huh.
All right. So a soul connects through many lifetimes, while a spark or a spirit is just for one timeline.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. So when we're talking about spirit cooking, well, cooking is a combination of ingredients. It's a bringing of various elements together. That's just what the idea of cooking is based on, what it's explaining, and heating it up. So these are the two main symbology behind the whole spirit cooking. Cooking to increase the degrees, to heat something up. Remember, in order to produce a diamond, you need pressure, you need heat. So it's about heating something up and putting a whole bunch of carbon, spirit, carbon, atoms, things together to produce this diamond. So the goal is to combine or place enough spirits within one's mental state All right. So this would be the various identities of you throughout a day. Most people do not pay attention to the various identities of themselves,
It's a bunch.
but they become more evident if, for example, you were hungry. If you were hungry, you're going to show me a different version of yourself.
For sure.
If I was to restrict you from going to the bathroom, same concept. You're going to show me a different version of yourself. And if you're thirsty, you know, different examples. If I was to tease you, if I was to love you, get it giggly, and you know, you're very different versions of yourself. So there's a school of thought that these different versions of yourself are triggering or animating past spirits or past spiritual versions of yourself. And that you are a multi-dimensional being that are kind of tapping into the different versions.
Are you talking sideways, like different dimensions, or you're talking
spherical though, but spherical. So basically, it's more of a time-based thing. You could enter into another time space. So basically, you're entering space time. You're going to a different space and connecting to that time. Get it? That's what you would be doing in what I'm explaining now. You're kind of going to these different spaces and going in that space, connecting to or acknowledging or observing that time. That time created an experience. All right, let me try to dial it back.
Narrow it in.
Dial it back so it makes sense. All right. Every single person's life has one specific defining moment or definition of itself. So if you think of Christ, he would be a savior. If you think of Michael Jordan, he would be an athlete. If you think of Thomas Jefferson, you would say patriot. You get what I'm saying? These are like archetypes, and this is the role that they play. Now, say that I'm now here in the present, and say I enter saving someone, or someone's being bullied, and I step in and defend someone. I am tapping into when I was this Christ-like consciousness at that moment, and I'm triggering that part of myself to come in this now and activate this flesh into that version of yourself. And you know that this happens because you actually don't remember the events when it happened. So when a lot of people start riled up, start fighting, they don't remember the moments. It's because you were possessed. You were actually taking over.
Playing music. Musicians say they sort of black out too.
For sure. For sure.
Any sort of that. I wanted to cut you off before so I can bring something back. In that case, it wouldn't necessarily be you, even spirits from you, because that means that would just be like this archive of different forms you can take on that anyone has access to. It doesn't even have to be related to your linear time space. It could just be like, say there's an experience that you've had that you've never had before in any lifetime, a sort of role that you had to play. There would be a first time that you would use that role. Therefore, you'd have to be accessing it from like a dead, exactly, a record that was outside of you. Not even. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They show the record. In a lot of different shows.
Archetypes, that's the word I meant. Thanks.
It was a show I seen recently that had the same concept. Yeah, they consider everyone's a book. It's a record. That's so real. You are living a specific, okay, but I think that is us. So I believe I am or a part of the Christ consciousness. I am
Yeah,
a
yeah,
part
yeah,
of the
yeah.
Buddha consciousness. I am a part of Thomas Jefferson. He was sleeping with African with black women. You get what I'm saying? That's my mama.
You get
Like
like 400 of them, bro.
yeah, that's my mom, it's my aunties. That's what I'm saying. It's all quantumly instinct and connected. We got to start thinking larger and grander.
Yeah.
But this is how I believe. This is how they explain to me in the work that I do. That the human being or body is not one consciousness. That you are actually hundreds of personalities that actually have created or defined what you identify yourself as. And more come. Now, you weren't originally hundreds and hundreds of these spirits. Uh, uh, that becomes debatable. Religious, it's like Christianity. They place certain spirits in
For
you
sure.
for baptism.
For sure.
And in African cultures, they place jinn or spirits inside of their babies. So in different in the Jewish culture, they do the same thing. So I'm just saying, anytime they place symbols and put these symbols onto babies or on their clothes, these are connected to jinn or entities, and they are placing these entities within their EM fields so that they can absorb, their consciousness. And this is how they become athletic. This is how they become great magicians. This is a math, science, magic.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
this is what I have been told. We are all of these different things, and these different things are actually at a war with each other. So we are we are actually now playing like characters or avatar roles for these entities. It's yeah. Because I know you wanted to get into the extraterrestrial talk, so I was just
Yeah, that was nice. I'm just my mind's running. I'm trying to keep up. There's like 10 things I wanted to say at once, and then I just dropped all of them. But oh, I was gonna say to correct myself from saying earlier that they've always that these archetypes can be accessed by anyone for all time. Christ consciousness didn't exist 4,000 years ago, as we know it today, but it's now an archetype. So basically, my point is that's what I was going to say. It seemed like you just gave a long ass explanation of what I asked you about Westworld at the beginning of the video. That's sort of because imagine all the new archetypes that a fucking human robot would have. All their new things that open up. They can have a whole pantheon of fucking robot archetypes that we never came across that are still under what you're saying are spirits that can be instilled into people.
Here's the secret of that. So the goal is to put the spirit into a physical object so that the physical object can hold on to that spirit until the technology advances enough to be able to place that spirit into an animated consciousness, or what you will refer to as a robotoid. Now, currently, these spirits are in our phones, if you want to know where they've gone. But, okay, where would Christ go? Where would Christ go? He has to go into his spirit has to go into a physical object. Well, there's people who are wearing his necklace. There's crosses, millions of crosses all around the world. They literally are placing his consciousness in all of these objects and entities and keeping him here and preserving him here on this planet until the next body can handle. Now, you also have to understand gods are a part of being in creation and a part of being in their creation. God said, let there be light. First, God saw there was light and said this light was good. And then God said, let there be light. So you trying to say y'all not into what you say? Like, what you say is what you create, and what you create is what you're into. So you're into your creation. So, yeah.
Can I ask you to define spirit a little bit? Or someone in the comments said it's not spirit. No, spirits is called conditioning. And my first thought was tomato, tomato, but maybe not necessarily, because I know words are powerful and we do want to get specific with them and how we use them. So how would you define, do you define spirit as this, as a sentient, independent consciousness, or just as like a quality of energy frequency that we can sort of brush, like you can put ice into water. The ice isn't alive, but it'll make the water cold. Is that how you see spirits? It's not something that's necessarily alive, but influences the host? Or how do you define it?
Yeah, so I have multi-dimensional reasons. I mean, definitions of spirit. I think it is to. I mean, yeah, spirit. I think it is the physical manifestation of ether. But it doesn't necessarily mean physical. So I can kind of say it is the spiritual representation of ether.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were to get in a hierarchy, I would consider the soul part of ether, and then the soul then has to articulate or manifest itself into a element,
Mm-hmm.
right? This element then chooses a spirit to represent it. So the element of air, well, Zeus would technically be a representation of that. The element of fire, the devil would be a representation of that. The element of water, Poseidon would be a representation of that. Earth, Gaia would be a representation of that. So I'm just kind of giving you an example of these are spirits. All right. These are spirits that I personally think are representing elements. Now, okay, so I think it goes liquid, solid, gas, plasma, post-plasma, ether. So post-plasma, that which comes out of or after plasma. But it also technically could be considered pre-plasma. But anyway, my point is, I
On
think,
either side of plasma.
yeah, I think it's the dual sides of
Somewhere
plasma.
immediately outside the
And
vicinity.
these dual sides of the plasma, or the directions that, or the directional motion of plasma, north, south, east, west, fire, earth, air, water, is kind of governing the direction of spirits. It's kind of the interpretation of the soul. It's the closest thing we can get to an idea of God. But anyway, so the spirit would be an extension of an element.
Mm-hmm.
And the elements are an extension of the etherical soul. Spirits
You're
should
talking.
die.
You're talking the descension of basically down into the material realm right now.
Correct. Correct. Now, we didn't even get into the material yet. All right. Now, the spirit decided to solidify itself
Correct.
into what we could refer to as sperm. So I think that the spirit is associated to sperm.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sperm is housing a consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
This consciousness is one directional idea.
Mm-hmm.
This is, like I said, everyone lives a life and they hold on to one driving emotion, like a
Nice.
little sperm, one driving emotion.
Uh-huh.
And I think once the spirit hits an egg, the egg or the body becomes a gathering point
Mm-hmm.
for other spirits. But it's not going to be the same type of spirit as you. I think you, like I said, you get a difference between a spark and a shine. And not all spirits are equal. Okay.
Trigger warning.
So Zeus would be a spirit. And Zeus does not die. Zeus will not die. All right. So that is a spirit that
Wait, you say Zeus will not die?
Zeus is immortal.
What if humanity dies? What if we get wiped out by a meteor and no one's there to remember Zeus?
Well, that's they have contingency plans for that. Yeah, they're
I was hitting you with the "do they exist if we don't believe in them" sort of line of thinking.
um. So their greatest fear is to be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just make it make sense to bring it home.
Bring it home, baby.
So when the sperm hits the egg, we know that the sperm's tail gets cut off. All
Correct.
right. So you have to remember that is like your body. All right. So your body is removed. You are then inside of this egg. And just like a reptile, you can regenerate oneself. And this is what you do. You start to regenerate oneself or grow oneself inside this egg. Over time, you, this one spirit with one singular soul mission, one singular drive, gets distracted by sparks, by basically entities that have learned a magic to make them get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
And they get your attention by you signing up to their things. Benjamin Franklin is on the $100 bill.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the dude who created Apple with the Apple logo right on our phone? I mean, their consciousness is staying with us. So we end up gathering or attracting other spirits. All right?
Yeah.
And you would now have contracts with these other spirits. You drive a Mercedes. That's a deity. You call yourself a psychic. This is a Greek deity called Psyche. Like, you are signing to be these spirits. You're signing up to become not just yourself no more, but other entities and energies, especially if you're using their science. Get it? You are not just yourself.
Yeah. 100%.
All right. So your brain is growing, and it's growing with the intelligences or the ideas of others. And now your shine is being blanketed by a honeycomb of sparks.
So that's the receiving end. What's the giving end? So what I'm hearing from you is we become an aggregate of all these spirits. But if I want,
they all have information.
Yeah, but if I want to create my own apple, then that I'm creating a brand new spirit.
So if you want to create your own apple, you have to plant your own seed.
I meant Macintosh Apple, like my own my own sigil, my own spirit that I can implant into the world.
Well,
of my own volition, though, not
you're doing it. You're on YouTube. You man of letters, like
yeah. That's my question. But so what's like the
when you die, I'm going to be able to access your spirit. So basically, basically what that can look like. Man, all right. Ooh, trying to explain that on a
yeah, dude, wrap your head around it. Just go and sip on some hill tea. Come on, me.
That's a good. That's a fire cup.
Yeah, my girl got it for me for Christmas. It's a wooden hand carved mug.
Fire, fire. I'm over here like, man, I need me some snow, some overalls, and that mug. Some cider. Some cider.
That's all funny. I made my own fucking pumpkin ale. I bottled them in 22-ounce bottles, and it fits that mug perfectly. So I have my own home brewed pumpkin ale that I sip out of this cup, and it's fucking glorious.
That's great.
It just does all the things for me.
That sounds great.
My bad. Did I cut you off?
No. You good. We back in there. I was talking about it anyway. So yeah, the receiving end.
My bad. I put up 0 on there because he.
Oh yeah. I like to read this stuff. It's cool. I ain't never see this setup. This is cool. This is
like, Richie, who actually I think might have found my channel from yours, put me on Restream, which is what we're on now. And shit's super. Yeah. It's nice. Restream. It's tasty. Check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into this.
But yeah,
All right,
that's
so yeah, you were saying if you wanted to, because I don't know if I understand the question. If you say if you wanted to be a planet,
I guess I didn't give you a very well defined question. I was just kind of like brain vomiting. But I think what I was trying to say was, it's possible to not just be receiving these fucking spirits all the time, and it's possible to create your own spirits. Or is it possible, or does it come with a different set of rules, or is there like some fucking, or am I creating a spirit just by walking down the fucking street in the
you
afternoon? You know what I
you
mean?
are a spirit. This is what you have to remember, and your spirit is holding on to something. This is what I refer to as a map. This is why I say the soul is a map.
Uh-huh.
So a map is like guidelines. A map is like a blueprint. A map is like a format. I mean, a map is symbolic for various things. But your spirit has access, let's just say that, to a soul or a unlimited source of uh, uh, information, energy, love, abundance. I mean, there's various words. People feel it once they get into either higher states of meditation, on certain drugs. But man, they mess with my brain. I'm getting so many brain farts today.
Archons.
Yeah. But because I think what I want to kind of just get out what I want to say, because maybe that's why I keep getting thrown off.
Yeah, I do
Um,
that a lot. Go ahead, get it out.
in order to receive these energies in the right format, you have to start realizing you are a map or soul for them. So that's what I'm trying to. These other spirits are dead.
Uh-huh.
All right. So uh, think of the idea as this, and this is a metaphysical idea. You are the one who gained the egg, but all the other sperms that got shot out have now become ghosts, have now become even what could be perceived demons.
Uh-huh.
And now their
Disembodied
role,
spirits.
huh?
Disembodied spirits.
Correct. And they now become attracted to your shine because they didn't gain a soul.
I see where you're coming from.
They only have a spark. They
I see.
only can get attention from aggression. They can only get your awareness from force. All right? So now it is the dead around you that is forcing themselves upon you. But yet you are the one individual that's operating out of the system of will.
Uh-huh.
And your will is supposed to be the driving force. I don't want to use force. So your will is supposed to be the driving motivation.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And if it is your will, then you now have to start taking accountability, awareness, and control
Mm-hmm.
over your body.
Mm-hmm. Which
For
is also
example,
being influenced by these spirits.
correct. For example, you don't say when you hungry. That is a spirit telling you that you are hungry.
Oh,
And you run your ass in the kitchen, McDonald's, whatever, to appease that spirit.
straight up.
Why can't you say, no, I'm not going to eat right now?
Yo,
Get
check
over
this
it.
out. Check this out. I've got this theory that all spirits, using the same term even, that want to influence the physical world must take on a physical body to a degree. And that's what I think, that gut bacteria, they say you have certain gut bacteria that will give you cravings for sugar and sweets and shit like that, depending upon the microorganisms in your fucking belly. So I'm thinking that's got to be that spirit. That was his anchor in this world. Say the one that makes you want sweets when you know damn well you shouldn't be eating sweets, but you eat them anyways. That addiction, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, that was it. That was the thought.
Sorry, phone call. Yeah,
All
he's
good, all good.
referred to as the Candy Man.
Who's referring to Candyman? I'm referring to the Candyman?
Hold on.
Or is
Is it
there a
working?
comment that I didn't see? I can hear you. I can hear you and see you. Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me? QQ. Can you hear me, brother?
I'm gonna try to fix it. Hold on.
All right, I might burn the old oregano while you do that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've been hearing you the whole time.
All right. It was tripping. All right, we better though. It's good.
Sweet. That whistle is in the background again though. That was doing the thing from the beginning. All right, it's gone now.
It's weird. Oh, look at that. All right. Yeah. So I said they often refer to this energy as Candyman. So you gotta think of the idea like glucose, and I'm not a specialist or scientist or anything of those regards, but I know that
You're not an MD nutritionist, dog?
huh?
You're not an MD nutritionist?
Yeah, nah, didn't get them accolades.
You're slipping, dude. That's where it's at these days.
them accolades didn't come through. Probably didn't sit there patient enough to click the button. That's really what these
Click
courses,
the button.
these courses require. Click.
Can you accept this $60,000 loan? Yes, sweet. Welcome to college.
Man, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. And like a little off topic, and I just realized like it's such like a compliant game. Like if you didn't develop compliancy as a youth, oh man, like because as like you have to like get the right setup when you're in like high school, and then get like the right and I mean like the right people, the right connections starting in high school, and then it doesn't stop. Then it has to be the right people in college, and then it doesn't stop. You have to make sure you get the right job as soon as you get out of college, because let you get the wrong job right out of college, it's going to destroy your career. Oh, what, you couldn't find a job in your trade, you couldn't find a job in your degree, what's wrong with you? It's like, man.
Then you ended up getting some shicey ass job, and they're like, "You went to school and you got this job." It's like, "Yo, I did."
Crazy.
I fucked up.
It's crazy. Yeah, I know. That's my point.
No, I went to school. I went to university up in San Fran, but I went on a baseball scholarship, so it was a little different. But I'm still balls deep in tens of thousands of student loans from a degree that like. It was a philosophy degree actually. So I was developed reading and writing and like critical reading skills really well. So that was like, thank God for what I'm actually using it. But like, it's definitely not worth saying. You can learn that shit on YouTube, man. It's crazy. You can.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
man.
this is a 2021. 5 is a number of action. This is an action year. You're going to see a lot of things that represent action, like storming a White House. That's action. But a lot of energies that were planning or creating a box or a square, an organization. 2020, they're going to initiate that organization. They're going to bring that square to a tip, to a pyramid, to a peak. And that's what we go realize and feel here in 2021. You're going to feel a lot of actions out of individuals. And one of the actions is probably going to be a change of currency. Also, a transition of power. What we saw in the White House is beyond human conditioning. Let's just say that. This is planetary as well. So those that are into astrology will understand that we are affected by the movement of these planets, and just based on the certain position of planets at this moment is going to unlock and induce certain behaviors in people. So,
Action is the name of the game for 21 for this year.
action, yeah, for sure, sure. And just because you are a cell of an organism doesn't mean you have to necessarily agree all the time with that organism. So, for example, there's cells in your body, unless you eat something it doesn't agree with, your cells go probably push it out or tell you it doesn't agree with it.
Okay,
So
cancer.
yeah, so it's the same concept. If you don't agree with some of these planetary awakenings, movements, nudges, principalities, you do have the ability to do something about it. You know, awareness is key. A lot of people don't know that these planets are creating puppets per se, and these planets are the strings.
Wait. The planets are the puppeteers, or are the puppets themselves? You're saying?
Nah, puppeteers. The planets are the puppeteers.
Um. So do you? All right. Well, then what? This might tie into my next question. You said you had your own sort of metaphysical swing on things, which is dope as fuck. What does that mean to you? If you're a puppet of the planets, is you utilize those? I'm getting that crazy feedback again.
Yeah, I hear it. I backed up. Maybe that was. I guess you get too close. I don't know what that's about.
It's the archons, yo. I'm not sure why. Maybe I
So
can.
basically, it's the same idea with King Solomon. Where King Solomon was said to use certain demonic forces to help build his temples.
Yeah.
So you have the ability to use the planet's uh, its energy. So the energy is going to direct energy towards you. And you have to be able to be wise enough to define what happens to this energy. Does it create a wellness for you, or
Yeah.
does it create a dis-ease for you? And
Well,
this is how it works. This is people's awareness, of these planets, how these planets are actually a part of your chakras. So if you understand that, then you have a greater understanding of how you can influence these planets, and how two of your chakras are kind of closed off right now based on these two planetary races no longer being here.
yeah. To add on to that too, the swing of those planet forces. I like to best describe it as, because you can't stop it, right? Unless you go out there and blow up Mars or some shit like that.
You
So
gotta
it's like,
land on them.
so
You
it's like
gotta colonize them.
exactly. So when the swinging forward, you swing forward. When the swing's going backwards, you lean backwards. It's as simple as that. Like I say that shit all the time. It's you be aware first and foremost, like you said, to what the energies actually are. And even if you don't follow astrology, it's not like you don't have to do a tarot reading to see where your life is going to be in a year. It's just like, how do you feel about your life now? Well, then stay on that path. That's probably where you're going to be a year from now. So it's all about just understanding sort of the energies that are at bay.
I mean, look at the days of the week. Most people do not do well on Monday. So you should see that the moon is affecting you on Mondays. You should probably not make business decisions on a Monday.
Exactly.
Just pay attention. Like these are
Meditating
planetary
on
days.
Mhm.
Something just as simple as that. Just pay attention to how your days are going. So yeah.
I saw some. I didn't fact check it, but it got me thinking. It said the U.S. has only declared war on Tuesdays because I guess Mars is Tuesday, the god of war is what Tuesday represents. So the U.S. only goes to war on. I don't know if it's true or not, but along those lines, someone looked at.
But that's a Greek tradition as well, or
Really?
a Fomorian tradition. These Fomorians were from Mars or Mars, and they they're where the word Tuesday comes from. They're where the word Mars comes from. They were a part of the two tribe, Tutankhamun.
There's even
like
the Teutonic Knights. There's all of Assyria, I think, or one of those Eastern countries. Interesting. Oh, damn. Thank you for that. That was a nice little plug I had there in the brain.
Yeah, no problem.
Damn, I need to go over those days, man. Because as I see it, it's like we can create our own. I feel like we can create our own rituals for sure, 100%. But like, or I guess how I feel is I'll use those days. I know it might be some sort of Orwellian nightmare slave thing. I don't know how far you go back with Sumerians, whatever you believe in. But I'll use it. That's kind of when you said earlier, like I don't know what I should do to help humanity. Lately, I've been sort of like not trying to help humanity at all. Like if people were willing to give away their power so easily, I would just like, all right, well then I'll use it to manifest my pyramid that I want to build on my 10 acres of land. Like if you guys don't want to do anything, then I'll do it in sort of. I'm not going that route. I'm not, but I definitely flirted with the idea.
I'm with you, but here's the problem. All right, so I usually use the analogy when we were in the 17 and 1800s, we would use whale oil or blubber to illuminate ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, it is said that whales are the reincarnations of Atlanteans. So basically, nevertheless, they had to use the dead for them to be illuminated. They had to use the dead. All right? That's just my point. Money. That's dead people. If you get into the reality that we are in sync with the dead, whether we want to accept it or acknowledge it or not. You can run from it, you can hide from it, and put your head in the dirt, but it doesn't change the fact that you're still in sync with the dead. And they are the dead. So if they continue being lost, they're going to continue feeding us dead energy. And it's going to just be an endless cycle of us constantly ciphering off of dead energy. So we're going to have to continue doing what we're doing, and that is speaking out and leaving at this moment digital blueprints. And I know that sounds crazy, like why would I want to leave digital blueprints? Digital blueprints is the most efficient, powerful tool that humanity has at this moment. You used to only be remembered by the last person that remembered you. Now you're remembered by how many videos you got up here. I mean, just that, and that's just one example of it. Facebook.
Westworld.
Yeah. So you have to remember that, like you said, you got to use it. You got to use it. If you don't use it, you're going to abuse it.
You get used by it.
Yeah, it abuses you. Yeah, you get used by it for sure. That's perfect analogy. So I try not to make those mistakes.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, man, I want to manifest real quick though. Maybe I could run a marketing scheme that just hits all the things that I know it's going to make people do what I want them to do.
Yeah, I thought about that. I did. I thought about all that. I have a strategic way of doing it. So, because I'm only kind of saying a little bit. So, say you hold a Christ consciousness, I hold a Christ consciousness, and Cleflo Dollar holds a Christ consciousness. Well, I'm telling you now, Cleflo Dollar is holding the strongest Christ consciousness. Christ is enjoying that experience more than yours and mine. All right, so it ain't all equal. All right?
Good point.
So we have to think about that. Certain entities or energies are housing stronger versions.
For sure.
Of that.
100%.
Yeah, just want to throw that little tidbit out there.
Damn. Then it's like, who am I then? Like, what decisions are?
You are their parents that they're trying to keep asleep.
Oh, wait, say that a different way.
You are the parents that they're trying to keep asleep. So a parent is a definer, or it is something that creates rules or definition. Remember, a rule is something that gives you measurement
of something. Yeah.
Measurement then gives you depth, definition. So this is the role of a parent. So we kind of gave them their roles, their depths. So if we were to awaken, then we can rearrange or change their roles.
Yeah.
Their so
that's what I was hoping you would say. You wrapped it up real nice with that awakening and stepping into the new role. Because that is the fucking goal, to reorient reality as we see.
Yeah, we're already doing it. It's already happening. This is why, like,
Or well, I'm with ease though, like proper, well, thoughtfully, with the whole world in consideration. Not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, all right. Think about this. We, as melanated people, have been speaking on the idea of white privilege, and this is an idea, and genuinely, a lot of white people did not understand that. It did not resonate. Now, if we as a conscious community don't want to hurt anyone no more, don't want to go to war with one anymore, we just want a certain people to see something different. What is the most effective way of doing it? Well, get a whole bunch of white people to storm the White House and then to say, wow, that's such white privilege. Now we don't even got to say it. I'm saying it in the wow. So
You're just
this
like,
is what it looks
you
like. Right. Like I didn't even have to say it.
see that?
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. They're angry. You know, it's like, okay, all right. Wow. But this is okay, so from 1987 to 2012, we entered something called the nanosecond. And basically what that would be was all right, let me a nanosecond is a system of measurement. All right? It means it's very quick. All right? And that's just the easiest way to explain it. It's very
Yeah,
quick.
there's like a million nanoseconds in a second or some shit like that, right?
Right. It's like a fucking blink of not even a blink of an eye, all right? And this is what it felt like from 1987 until 2012. It went in a blink of an eye. But not only did it go in a blink of an eye, it was an acceleration. Computer, cell phones, space travel, list goes on. You know, it was an explosion of technology. You have to realize that 1987, go back 100 years, everyone had horses. So 150 years, we extinguished a tradition that lasted 10,000 years on this planet.
Yeah, straight up.
People were riding horses for 10,000 years. And in 150 years, we extinguished the tradition. I mean, Okinawa, Japan, 30 years ago, there wasn't one cell phone. I mean, there wasn't one landline. There's no phones. They had no phones in Okinawa about 30 years ago, you know. I mean, in the villages. Now it's an H&M. In a blink of an eye.
Damn.
So this is my point. It happened so quickly. Now, from 2012, the Mayans were telling you that it was the end of a quote-unquote calendar. And it was. Because there was a new calendar that was being introduced. And this new calendar has not been defined yet. What you have to realize is every great civilization created their own calendar. Every great civilization created their own guidelines or blueprint. So we ourselves have not created that yet. The fucking Constitution. Like, let's not disrespect ourselves.
Interesting.
Let's not disrespect ourselves. So we're at the brink of doing that. We're at the brink of creating that. So this is what you call the changeover years. And from 2012 to 2027, you're going to see a lot of things change. Like your idea of reality. From a potential extraterrestrial exposure to currency being converted into digital form, to the fall of a government, to all of these things. You're going to see a lot of people leave, meaning they're going to call on or ask death to relinquish them from this experience. There are a lot of people that are feeling these emotions now, kind of feeling a lack of motivation or drive toward the existence of life. And you are actually calling on death and asking death to take you or remove you from this space and place now. So be careful of your actions.
You're saying that energy is coming in hot for the new age?
2021, you're going to see, from 2021 to 2027, you're going to see the most releasing of of spirits from bodies.
Mhm.
You're going to see a lot of death.
It's already all been on the rise, man. It's already
Yeah,
been on the rise.
it's not going to be it's not going to be what people are not going to be able to embrace the reality that is being produced. And that's when people become insane. And when people cannot have a grip of reality, they cannot then define or dictate their reality, nor dictate or define if they want to stay in this reality. And then, well, basically, it's going to be a time where, for about a year or two, people are going to be possessed, and they could kind of appear as zombies. That's real extreme. That's an
The
extreme way.
NPCs.
Yeah. But it's going to be almost zombie-like. And what is weird is that they're already testing the water with legalizing drugs, so that these drugs, they've done it in Washington, Oregon, or something like that.
Or for sure.
So to legalize drugs and to see if people become what they expect. It's an experiment almost, but to see if people truly become this possessed animalistic spirit that is going to uh, also incite. You see an example of it. Um, People storming the White House, even if it's Antifa, even if it's staged individuals, there are thousands of individuals that were there. And I promise you, not every individual was staged. So there are certain animalistic urges that are like lying dormant within people. And if these people start getting in certain environments, they're going to trigger some of these animalistic behaviors. People go start wilding out in parking lots. I'm just trying to kind of give you an example. It's about to be wild uh, for the next 6 years. But this is called a changeover period, and people are going to act wild during changes.
That might lend some credence to the legalizing the drugs in places like Oregon. So I've got a working hypothesis that that's low key why they're releasing all these psychedelics in some spots. Is because you can be super easily programmed when you're on psychedelics.
For sure.
Dude, like it's in books. CIA Project Blue Book, I think, is what it's called. There's tens of thousands of pages on how they can brainwash people and how they do it well using psychedelics. So I've been thinking that lately, man. Even at music festivals, like these big mainstream EDC and stuff like that, where people are taking drugs and flashing lights and dance and chanting, it's like the perfect hypnosis setting, mass hypnosis setting you could possibly imagine.
Let me see if I could see if I could find proof. Hold on.
Get a chance to catch up on some of your guys' comments. Sin, Patty Mayo, what up? I'm getting that damn feedback. It might be on my end. There's something I was messing with earlier.
All right, so LSD is a theory that I have. I think that they are putting LSD in the water of Americans.
Ooh, that's the conspiracy theory I've ever heard, if I've ever heard one.
And LSD affects your memories.
Uh-huh.
Everyone that is dealing with memory lapse, memory confusion, or altered memories, Mandela effect, altered memories. These are the effects of LSD. So if anyone wants to do their work, because I like to, not spit facts, let you do some research. So allegedly, they claim to be putting LSD in our water, and this fluoride kind of helps with the stabilizing of this LSD.
Oh, that's what you think the role of the fluoride is. Interesting. All right, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, it also has multifaceted, just like
For sure. I'm aware of the other ones, but this one not.
And this is what I mean stabilizing. Here's what I mean. Right, LSD does not calcify one's pineal gland. Correct. It awakens it. But if you were to add a fluoride construct in addition to this LSD, well, fluoride creates calcification.
100%.
So it's creating like a wall almost, to releasing. It's going to absorb it. So think of it as that. Like it's going to, the pineal gland is going to absorb this LSD, but then this fluoride kind of comes in as like a shell to kind of prevent it from secreting or releasing the, let's say, positive effects of LSD. Well, now it does other things to the brain because the LSD is going into other cavities and other parts of the brain, but
Uh-huh.
it's being restrictive in that specific part of the
Mm.
brain, which is then having negative or toxic effects on certain people in America. But they've been manufacturing LSD since the 60s.
Without a doubt.
And I bet if I did enough research, whoever was responsible for LSD is connected to the water company somehow, somewhere.
Nabisco or Nestle, who's the one that owns like half the world?
Yeah,
Nestle
yeah,
owns water.
and
Like,
I think they connected to fucking Johnson and Johnson.
and that's in the one that comes up H&E or
Yeah, and Johnson and Johnson definitely was a part of the, LSD experiments. So I definitely think that I think they have been experimenting, um, with the human experience,
for so long.
um, since the Grenada Agreement. I think that's what it's called. In the 50s, there was agreement between extraterrestrials and the American government, and that is then when there's been like a joint effort in experimenting with its own citizens. See, because I'm saying they as the government, not like Anunnaki, some
Uh-huh.
extraterrestrial
Uh-huh.
species. Of course, they've been fucking with us since the beginning. But I'm talking about our government since about 1952. So like what people would perceive to be extraterrestrial crafts or whatever are just hallucinations, feeding these individuals LSD and uh, uh, forms of hypnosis, putting them in front of TV screens on LSD and
Yeah.
different hypnotists and things like that, and them thinking that they were abducted by extraterrestrials, the little gray men, the green men, or whatever. What they will also do is take chicken skin and grab children and dress them up in these chicken skin costumes and tell them that they were, acting or playing in a role. And they would have them kind of mess with them on these LSDs or on these uh,
Fuck.
different drugs. Now, I'm saying LSD so the world can kind of get an idea of it, but it's not that drug. They have figured out a way of uh, secreting the same element that happens when a lot of us forget our dreams. So the body's secreting something when we are forgetting our dreams. So they've kind of been able to master whatever that is. And that is what they give the individual. And it's not foreign to the body. We wake up with
I
that shit
see.
all the time. Um,
We can also
so
fix that too. I'm
so
just
well,
you
here's the secret. You have to be vigilant. And how are you vigilant? Well, for example, um, people who claim to be abducted, I would tell them that they need to wear rigid socks. The socks that have the little footings or booties.
those weird looking things with the toes and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
All right. When you go into any of these spaces or places, you usually track stuff, and you're going to want evidence of these trackings. So I tell people, if you kind of feel like, because I have various clients talk about a lot of different things, but if you feel like this is something that you feel is happening to you, then you're going to need to do something to try to give you an evidence or proof. I also tell them they got to get in the habit of wearing black. Black is extremely attractive as well, and they don't have the ability to. Uh, there's dust. just fucking dust everywhere. Space dust is dust. So pay
Good.
attention to your clothes. Pay attention to yourself before you go to bed and after you wake up. You get so you hopping up and running to work or whatever. You don't even quite realize some of the things that might happen to you while you were sleeping.
And tell people what you do real quick so you can give them context.
So I'm a subconscious specialist. I offer a subconscious work. Basically, we will go into your subconscious and identify if there's anything might have blocking or restricting you, any ancestral experiences or ancestral entities that may be wanting to contact you or communicate with you, past experiences that may be holding you back in your current life, or past experiences that might be holding you back in past lives. Your mind has the ability to show you many different experiences. I often compare it to like a movie where my sessions start at about an hour, and it's kind of like watching a movie for an hour. And if you were to watch a movie for an hour, you get about an hour's worth of information. If you were to watch a movie for 2 hours, you get 2 hours. Lord of the Rings series, 4 hours. You get what I'm saying? Your brain literally unlocks and taps into these things. So the subconscious is a part of you. It's the 90% of you that you are absorbing and tapping into at all times. And sometimes it gets blocked. Sometimes it gets cluttered. Sometimes it gets affected. So you got to clean it out. You also have to realize that your brain is a muscle. And if you're trying to activate what you call meditation or activate other mental abilities, telekinesis, things like that, you have to exercise your brain. So you're going to sometimes look to a trainer to exercise a muscle. We go to the gym and hire a trainer to exercise our muscles in our body. It's no different than getting someone to train the muscle in your brain. So that's what I try to offer. And that's what I'm here to contribute to this world at this moment.
Up, I got your website down in the bottom of the screen too. So check. I just opened it. You changed it since the last time I saw it. That shit looks super epic when I went in.
Thank you. Cue Reaves, CueReaves.com. Shout out to my website designer.
Fat ass asteroid flying across the screen too. That shit's hella dope.
Yeah.
Super epic. That shit's super epic.
Yeah, we entering the astro world or your astro mind.
All right. Well, actually, I was gonna say let's start wrapping it up by doing who you are and what you do, but you did that already. So before I open it up for questions on the outro from some like serious questions for Q or for the squad in general, end it on astral because that comment you just said. Just explain to me what you meant by that because I've been having those same thinkings too. We're entering into the astral right now.
All right, so astro is a remnants. So that's basically it's a the dream world. So you have to think of the idea that the dream comes before the reality. And the dream most likely is suggesting the reality, influencing the reality, creating the reality. So if you can enter the dream state, dream world, and not have Freddy Krueger affecting you, then you're going to be able to have
or know how to transmute Freddy Krueger.
Correct. Into the child. Anyway, you would be able to create the physical realm or what you choose to have in this physical realm much easier. So entering the astral world or astral realm would be like another code for entering like fifth dimension or the start of your fifth dimension. You're talking about the dimension of oneself. So we're then talking about one's definition within space. So you are defining yourself as an entity in a fifth dimension or a fifth dimensional construct. So this fifth dimensional construct would kind of be like the dream state.
I got a dope lucid dreaming thing you should do. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
I'm so maybe so I clapped. I got so happy you said it. I'm 100% with you on dreams creating the reality. And so this, I haven't been able to do it because I haven't been able to go lucid proper since I had the thought. But going into your lucid dream and going into your mind and changing the actual software within your lucid dream, like see it as a computer that you're opening up. And you're like, all right, I'm going to unplug it from this bad habit and plug it into this good one, or however that looks like for the individual. And actually doing using dream work as fucking rewiring. Like conscious, it'd be like conscious rewiring of the subconscious brain, which is unheard of.
Yeah,
Almost.
that's what I try to offer and advocate. So explain how you need to make sure the dream world coincides with what you say
Well,
in the
yes.
real world. So they say that you don't die in your dream because the brain cannot process death. Um, no, you don't die in your dream because you don't die, but um,
Interesting.
so
I like
what you want to do is define what your resurrection looks like.
that. Mm-hmm.
To define what happens after your death.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to be buried and you're in a cemetery, you need to place yourself into a dream state where you are like rising out of that grave and
Uh-huh.
traveling up into the space. And you are defining the next steps or actions that you are taking during your transition into the dream state or astral realm. You also then need to say, I will die in peace, or I will transition in peace. I mean, as long as you understand death is transition, you can use the word die or death. But
Uh-huh.
I will transition in peace. I will have a nice headstone to honor, my presence here. Speak these things into existence. When I die, I would die peaceful. When I transition, I would transition with loved ones around. I would transition with many flowers all around me. I would transition with many people smiling and many people rejoicing. This is what we have to start getting in the habit of doing, but also seeing these things in our astral dream meditative state.
Uh-huh.
Most of us kind of hit that state right before we fall asleep. And you're usually doing it thinking about all your day, thinking about the stuff you did. So you're kind of entering that moment. But what you need to do is cut all that off. When you're about to fall asleep, define what it is you want to do before you go to sleep. If or let those random thoughts just come and catch them. Like, did I
Uh-huh.
just think about a castle? Did I just think about
Uh-huh.
Barbie? Like, yeah, that shit's just it ain't to go hard on it. Why am I thinking about Barbie? Why am I thinking about a castle? No, it's not about that. It's just to acknowledge that your brain is stretching or going beyond this mundane.
Uh-huh.
Like y'all hear all the time. Y'all don't
Uh-huh.
have to
Uh-huh.
continue this when y'all about to go to bed. Like y'all hear enough. You can move on to the
Hey,
next
take it
chapter, to
easy.
the next point. So
Switch it up.
I think that's something smart that we have to try to do as well.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm gonna start doing that. I will meditate before bed, but like upon falling asleep, I don't think I've ever made it a note to tap into that space, to
Yeah,
start creating and shit like that. So
it's
noted.
helpful.
I usually just knock out, dude. I fall asleep like before my head hits the pillow. I sleep easy.
That's a agenda as well, and that's how you know it's an agenda. You know it's an agenda when you're doing something consistently.
Uh huh.
Because and then you know it's an agenda when you're doing something consistently. Now, it doesn't mean it's not your agenda. Your agenda could be cool. That which is forever is consistent. That which is forever is irreplaceable. That which is forever will last. So it
Uh
could be your agenda. But
huh.
odds is we're operating or dealing with others' agendas.
All right. Copy. On that note, we're gonna end it because we can
Yeah,
we can go on, dude.
all day.
I'm glad I got you to introduce yourself. That was supposed to be at the beginning, but it came in
Nah,
tastefully.
we did it. Thank you, family.
It did. Thanks everyone showing up. we got quite a few people in here. I'm assuming a whole squadron of you are from Cue Reaves' channel. So thanks for stepping in, squad. What to do?
Yeah.
I'm Keith, Man Letters. We do a bunch of cool shit on it. As someone stated before, the Man of Letters is from a TV show called Supernatural, which are just a group of people that studied the occult, like an underground brotherhood that studied the occult, hunted down supernatural creatures and shit. It's dope. Anywho, yeah, what we meet like a year and a half ago now, Q?
Yeah, about there.
Wow, this time it's still fucking flying. But yeah, we do like I do a bunch of live readings on the channel, do some dope ass audiobooks. Like I have Emerald Tablets, Kabbalion if you're into the Hermetics, Corpus Hermeticum if you're into the more Hermetics, Gospel of Mary, like some like Book of Enoch,
Wow.
a bunch of dope, a bunch of like nice, well done music in the background. That's
what
like,
are you reading? Are you reading them?
I'm reading them, and most of them, I'm producing my own music too. I play piano, so I'm doing nice little tasty piano shit in the background. But that's like nine.
That's nice. You gotta send me some of them links so I can share them on my page. I didn't even know you did that.
Yeah, dude, that was how I started, and then it was just like it's hard to put out that kind of content consistently because it takes so long. So 90% of the videos are what you normally see me doing, but I love them audiobooks a lot. They're super fun to do, and they come out super dope.
All right.
And I try to keep them tasty too, like nice. I just posted the link to the whole playlist in the chat room.
Got you. I see it.
But yeah, so always keeping the knowledge, dude. Napoleon Hill, I did Interview with the Devil with Napoleon Hill, which was a dope ass book. He basically interviews the devil, and he's like, the devil talks about how he Napoleon Hill's like, how do you capture humanity? Like, what do you do? And the devil, one of his things is he can't lie. He can never tell a lie. He just sort of uses the truth to destroy, because truth can be destructive sometimes. Anywho, he asks the devil what he does to win souls, and the devil answers, and it's just the coolest fucking answers of like how he hypnotizes people, how he gets people in a rhythmic cadence. And he's like, they could change, but realistically, it's impossible to change at a certain point in your life if you've hit that hypnotic rhythm. And that's what I get people to do. It's like, so Napoleon Hill is like,
the God of time.
What? Oh yeah. Oh, there's some Saturn. Yeah. You gotta check it out, dude. It's dope as fuck. I hate you with the link.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
But all right, is there anything you want to say before we wrap up, or I'm looking for questions? Nothing like particularly.
No, I see y'all responses. Thank y'all so much. Yes, I'm
yeah, if you see
stuff, I was able to chime in.
Cool. So are we done? Are we calling it? Or
yeah, we out. We finished.
All right, thanks,
time, family.
Appreciate you guys being here. This is gonna end, and I'm pretty sure we'll see if it cuts you out or not, Q. But if it cuts you out, then it was nice chatting. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Cool.
All right. Peace.